Well, good morning, Lionhearts. We're leaving Cisco, where we slept last night, and we're heading off to a little town called Hico. We're gonna explore the myth of a man with 3 graves. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. So this is what brings us out to Hico, Texas. The Billy the Kid Museum. Boy, what a weird story Billy the Kid has post-death. We'll explore it in this town. Let's go. Hico, Texas, where everybody is somebody. They actually have a Billy the Kid Museum and a statue here. But the story of the man Billy the Kid that they're talking about has some speculation as to whether it's actually Billy the Kid or not. And it's also home to an insanely giant spur. And right here on the ground is our first sighting of Billy the Kid. That little shack. We've got the very old town America feel here. And we are in Dr. Pepper country, so take a look at that. 3 good times, good for life. Here we have a sign that says, Billy's Funeral. Hico's Rutledge Funeral Home on Highway 6 was known as Barrow Rutledge Funeral Chapel in 1950 when it handled the funeral service of Brushy Bill Roberts, who many believe was the famous Billy the Kid. He was buried in a cemetery near here, Hamilton, Texas. And that would have been the funeral home. So here's the weird story to Brushy Bill and the whole connection to Billy the Kid is that Billy the Kid was obviously a world famous outlaw gunfighter, and in the Wild West he had killed a few men, and Pat Garrett apprehended him, brought him in for trial. He collected the reward. They went through with the trial. Billy was found guilty and then was set to be hanged, and killed 2 sheriffs escaping. And then Pat Garrett eventually surprise attacked Billy and killed him when he was 21 years old. That's the story that has went down in history, and there are 2 graves in New Mexico claiming to have Billy the Kid's body. One of those graves, I believe they had a flood and it doesn't have anybody at all. But then there's Hico, Texas, who in 1950 had a man at the age of 90 years old named Brushy Bill Roberts, who came out and said that he was Billy the Kid and that he wanted to travel to New Mexico and be pardoned for all of his crimes. And they went through he did travel to New Mexico, did meet with the governor, and they did inspect his body, and they found many of the same scars, the same wounds, the same stab wounds that Billy had, and the same distinct eye color. However, the governor of New Mexico would not grant a pardon, nor would he acknowledge that this was Billy the Kid. Now many in this town believe the reason that was is because New Mexico didn't want to lose Billy the Kid as a tourist attraction, and then many in New Mexico believe the same thing about Hico, Texas, that this man was, that they were adopting his story as being Billy the Kid because it would help them with tourism. So here they believe that Brushy Bill was Billy the Kid, that everything added up, that his story matched up, all of the scars, all of the evidence matched up, and so they have a museum and a statue, and like we saw on that sign, he's buried not too far from here, so we're gonna go to his grave as well. I love the old buildings. Here we found a plaque. Ollie L. Brushy Bill Roberts, alias Billy the Kid, died in Hico, Texas, December 27th, 1950. He spent the last days of his life trying to prove to the world his true identity and obtain the pardon promised to him by the governor of the state of New Mexico. We believe his story and pray to God for the forgiveness he solemnly asked for. So apparently there had been a governor in New Mexico that had said he would pardon him, and that's what Ollie was going to ask the new governor to hold up that bargain or hold up that agreement, and he wouldn't do it. So there's a statue to Billy the Kid. I'll show you the artist here. And this is the older version of Billy. This is what Ollie Roberts looked like later on in life. 90 years old. They say that he actually died walking to the post office here in town to mail something for his wife. And some say he died of a broken heart for not having the pardon honored. Town certainly looks like an old Wild West town still, other than the cars. Rick, I think we found the museum.
Okay, let's go check it out. It's probably that thing right there, right?
Well, here it is. Billy the Kid Museum. Let's check it out.
They asked him to describe the jail there at Fort Sumner, and he described the jail. And so they turned right around and said, well, he's describing it wrong, so he couldn't be in that jail, But the jail had been remodeled 2 times.
Oh.
Now they have found all the original drawings and the records of the jail, and it's just like he described it.
And didn't
they threw that out there in 1950 that it wasn't true because he didn't know how to describe the jail.
Now, didn't he also have like stab wounds that were in the exact same spot and things like that? Were just too uncanny to be coincidence?
Yeah, he had those, but he had a lot more. But he did have the ones they knew he had, definitely, yes.
Here we go. Kind of excited to check this out, aren't you? We have a picture, painting of him. That's a bust of Brushy Bill. His name wasn't even Billy Bonney. He was originally known as McCarty, then changed his name to Billy Bonney, so it wasn't uncommon that he would have multiple aliases and different identities. A leather holster. Now the man on the left is Billy the Kid, Brushy Bill, Bill Roberts, Ollie Roberts, and that's the governor. Governor Mabry. See, there's the photo of that likeness we saw painted on the side of the building. Now here's a bunch of memorabilia about Billy the Kid and people involved. There's the old Hico jailhouse and a wanted poster of Billy back there. Some believe that Pat Garrett knew that he didn't kill Billy, that some believe that he accidentally killed someone else thinking it was Billy, and then some people believe that out of friendship he let Billy go and still collected the killing reward. There's a picture of Billy and his gang, 1877. Now Billy the Kid looks very familiar.
I hope he looks better than this guy does.
Now here the article is about Billy having 2 graves at the time, and they're mentioning here that the only reason anyone goes to Fort Sumner is for Billy the Kid's grave, so they have good reason to not want to quote-unquote let the truth out. So here they have a picture of one of the graves and it says the fake Billy the Kid grave. There's another one. Now this picture says that's Dan Garrett, Pat Garrett's grandson, said his grandfather never killed Billy the Kid. Dan visited our museum here in Hico, Texas. Now there you can see the picture of Governor Lew Wallace. That's who originally said that he would give Billy the full pardon. There's a young picture of Billy the Kid. It's helped the myth keep going, if nothing else, wondering whether Billy was ever really killed that first time or which grave is the real one. Kind of an interesting story. You have to wonder, like I read online, they say, you have to wonder, how could this man have all the same scars and the same stab wounds as this man? Who would recreate that if they weren't the real person? What would they have to gain being 90 years old coming forward? Here you can see we have an article about the duel over Billy the Kid. Who really has him? Was he really dead before 22? Or did he live to be 90? There's a picture of Pat Garrett. We did go to his grave, and we went to where they buried him when he was killed in that very bizarre instance out on the trail, and where they buried him. We went to both of those. That's the man who took credit for killing Billy the Kid and the reward. And here you can see his hat and a photo, and this photo is actually, let me try and get a image there where it's clear. That's Brushy Bill with William Morrison, the probate investigator who was convinced that Brushy Bill was Billy the Kid. There he is as well. And this, you can see it says a study in ears. Brushy Bill Roberts at 14. At 17, they're showing him at different times and how the ears match up. That's Brushy Bill. Take a look at that. That is a picture of Brushy Bill at the Fort Sumner grave of Billy the Kid. Look at all the articles here. 80% feel Brushy Bill was the kid. Now the funny part to Billy's story, if you believe that William Roberts was Billy the Kid, is that after he snuck away, after he changed his identity and started his new life, he went on the good side. He became a police officer at one point, helped out the law, pretty much lived the straight and narrow. Brushy Bill, a man with a secret. Now this is kind of interesting. It says, Brushy Bill told his story to William Morrison with the help of historian C.L. Sonnetson. It was published in 1955. Although many have tried, no one statement has been found untrue. The 1986 publication of the Hico Legend of Billy the Kid brought Billy back to the public interest. Huh. This photo says, Brushy Bill said this woman was Billy the Kid's aunt, Catherine Ann Bonney. Now we have some personal belongings. His belt buckle. And then down here, an old bone-handled knife. And some shaving brushes. I don't know. I kind of believe it. One of the reasons that I read online that the governor denied the pardon was because he said it was basically something to the effect of it was so long ago historically that he didn't want to touch it. I guess I can understand that, especially when there's law enforcement deaths involved. There's Brushy Bill and his wife. That is Brushy Bill, Billy the Kid's saddle they have on display. It's kind of interesting. And some people believe it so much that the grave we're going to go see is pretty elaborate, but that's not the original gravestone that was there. Someone actually went out there and added to it to make it nicer. And then that big trunk they have in that case right here, that also belonged to Billy the Kid. And here we have a bunch of old movie posters of various movies that tell the story of Billy the Kid in one way or another. I shot Billy the Kid. And look at this picture. There's Billy the Kid standing right there. Here's copies of the killing. And look, you can see it's just known as the Kid, verifying he's dead, and then down at the bottom it says 1881. Well, I think we've seen all the photos and all of the articles and everything that we can see connected to this. Why don't we go out and see Billy himself? Or, if you don't believe that that's Billy the Kid, we'll go see William Ollie Roberts' gravesite. Well, that was a pretty good museum. Definitely worth checking out, and it's free. They just ask for a donation if you can, so come on in, check it out. And they even have a few things you can buy, like that.
first thing he found out was Pat Garrett did not shoot and kill Billy the Kid. And there's proof on that. And he'll give you all the great details on the proof of that. And then he went on to tell everything else that he did for the remaining years. And everything he said he did has ended up being truth. There were no lies. So if the man was 90 years old, bad heart, and he was admitting to being a wanted killer, I believe it. Why in the world would he do it? He didn't ask for money, he didn't ask for fame. All he wanted before he died, met his maker, I believe was the words he used, he wanted to have his pardon that the governor of New Mexico had promised him back in the 1800s.
Cool, busted Billy. One of the other pieces of proof they were telling me that made them believe that William Roberts was actually Billy the Kid was that in 1950 he could still dislocate his thumbs, which is how Billy the Kid would always escape from handcuffs, so they had to chain him up. They couldn't use handcuffs because of that. So that's another key piece to the puzzle. So Billy's grave is about 20 minutes away. Well, we've made it to Hamilton and we've made it to Oakwood Cemetery, and Billy is right over here. You can actually see him from the street, from the road. He's right on the other side of this bush. This one is the only one I believe that does not have, look at this, this is hilarious, off topic but hilarious. 5 o'clock somewhere. He's the only one that doesn't have his grave behind bars. Check that out. So originally it was just this down here, I believe, and then someone came and added this whole piece over top, which looks amazing. Look at all the things people leave for him. Then down here you've got playing cards, bullets, prayers, glasses, keys, guns, 5-hour energy, and shotgun shells. A couple of guns. So there you go, there's the story of William Roberts. The man at 90 years old who came clean and said, "I'm Billy the Kid." And a lot of people didn't believe him. But now his hometown does. And you know what? I actually believe that this is Billy the Kid. I agree with them. Here's the other side. You can see that that's all on with lasso type rope. Well, if you're a Billy the Kid enthusiast like I am from watching the Young Guns movies or Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, then I hope you enjoyed this vlog. And if you didn't know that there were 3 different graves and all this hoopla around who was really the Billy the Kid, or did he die, did he not die, I hope this was interesting to you. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you all from somewhere else in Texas tomorrow. From Billy the Kid's grave, goodbye.